The court can impose up to 60 days in the county jail as a condition of probation, and that's exactly what the court's going to do here.
Oh, please don't do
Ms.
this.
Turpin, you are an incredibly poor risk.
I've never done this to anybody
don't
before.
Talk over me.
I got my grandkids outside. Please don't do
and 24 and each
I have one kid too. Please don't
until
let me schedule this jail time.
This psychotic and crazy entitled Karen came into court today. She's being charged with scamming an elderly woman over $1,000. And not only that, but she showed up late to her sentencing hearing today. That is the first thing the judge notices when she joins the Zoom call. And it just goes downhill after that. Let me know in the comments if you think the judge was too harsh in this video. Let's dive in and watch this entitled scammer Karen get completely ripped to shreds by this judge here.
Ms. Turpin, you were late to your sentencing?
I was in the other building. I didn't know which building to go to, and I ended up in the other building. That's why I was late.
All right. I don't think there's been court held in that building for 21 years.
I've never been to court here, ever. I had no idea. Now.
This matter comes before the court at this time for sentencing. Docket notes from June 18th indicate that the defendant pled guilty to count 3, computer crime, a level 8 felony. A pre-sentence report was ordered. Sentencing originally set for August the 12th. Subsequently rescheduled to today's date. Ms. Turpin, are you aware of a legal reason or any other good reason why the court shouldn't proceed further with your sentencing?
No, sir.
At this time, then, the court will ask for recommendations from counsel regarding an appropriate sentence for Ms. Turpin, beginning with Amber Norris on behalf of the state.
Your Honor, state would be recommending for the felony crime of computer crime, the court follow the presumption and assign defendant to 9 months in the Department of Corrections. Defendant would be able to earn 20% good time credit and would be subject to 12 months post-release. Defendant has earned 2 days of jail time credit. And Your Honor, this is a presumptive probation matter based on the crime and defendant's criminal history. So I asked the court to assign her to 18 months community corrections probation with all standard and PSI recommended probation conditions, including a drug evaluation. And this is a community corrections case, so the court will need to assess standard probation and costs of the case, but then also the community corrections fee. There is restitution in the amount of $1,305.44. And Your Honor, I don't think I have any further recommendations for the court at this time.
Very well, Ms. Norris. Mr. Watts, your recommendations regarding an appropriate sentence?
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, we join the state's recommendation there in keeping with the plea agreement. I believe we join the recommendation of the mitigated 9 months with the post-release and probation durations and good time credits as noted. We likewise have no objection to the restitution that is set out in the PSI. I don't know that I have a whole lot else to add, Your Honor. Thank you.
Your fees and the representation of this client?
This is billed at $1,000 to bids.
Thank you. At this time, the court will address the defendant, Patricia Turpin, personally and ask her if she has any statements that she wishes to make in mitigation of punishment or anything further that she would like to present to the court. Ms. Turpin?
I just want to apologize to the victim's daughter. I'm very sorry for what I did. And
okay.
I really just want to say sorry to her.
Wow. What an apology here by this scammer. I just feel like that wasn't remorseful at all. Especially since the defense here and the prosecutor came to a plea agreement. The judge still has discretion for the final sentence. So, he could give her more than what they're asking for, which is honestly kind of scary because that just wasn't remorseful. I don't know how you can scam somebody and then only apologize to the victim's daughter and not the victim itself. Like, let me know if I'm crazy for reacting to that. But, that's not even the worst part. So, I'm going to keep it playing here. But, let's watch this Karen go absolutely nuts now. Any other statements for the court, Miss Dorfin? No. Very well.
Any other statements for the court, Ms. Turpin?
No.
Very well. Court will pronounce sentence in this case at this time. Court hereby establishes count 3 as the base sentence in the case for the offense of computer crime, a severity level 8, non-drug, non-person felony, in which the defendant has a criminal history score of H, thus placing her in grid box 8H. Court hereby sentences the defendant to a term of 9 months in the custody of the Secretary of Corrections, the state of Kansas. On this sentence, the defendant may earn up to 20% of good time credit and would be subject to 12 months of post-release supervision. No fine is imposed on that count. Court does note that in grid box 8H, this would be a presumptive probation case under Kansas law. There does not appear to be a special rule application here or a motion for departure to disturb that presumption. And the court will grant the defendant 18 months of initial probation term to be supervised by community corrections. Community corrections supervision is deemed appropriate due to the high risk score on the risk needs assessment that was conducted in this case.
Just for some context, while the judge is reading off the sentence, she is looking at some probation, which is what the judge is reading off here. But in just a few moments, the judge is able to put this lady behind bars for up to 60 days maximum. So just keep that in mind while he's loading up the final bits of this sentence here.
Conditions of that probation will be to report to an officer as directed, observe all laws, obtain a substance abuse evaluation within 45 days of today's date, and abide by the recommendations of that evaluation. She shall not possess or consume alcohol or illegal drugs while on probation. At her ISO's request and at her own expense, submit to random breath, blood, and urinalysis testing, perform any community service work pursuant to any program requirements, gain and maintain employment successfully throughout her probationary term, or again, will require $200 a month minimum, starting in a month to be determined by the court. Ms. Turpin, there's one other order that the court wishes to consider in this case. This court, unfortunately, has to see many cases where vulnerable people are exploited by others. I wish it was not so prevalent. However, this needs to stop. You are not new to the court system. You have, I believe, 3 prior property crime offenses on your record. So you're not new to this, and yet you exploited this helpless woman who was the victim in this case. And the court does have discretion, despite the fact that the legislature has determined you're not a prison case, that the court can impose up to 60 days in the county jail as a condition of probation. And that's exactly what the court's going to do here, Ms. Turpin.
Please don't.
The court is going to order you to serve 58 days more because you've got 2 days of jail time credit against that sentence.
Can we schedule it?
Starting immediately.
Oh, please don't do
Ms.
this.
Turpin, you are an incredibly poor risk.
I've never done this to anybody
don't
before.
talk over me. Don't talk over me. You're an extremely poor risk to show up in jail on any type of schedule because
I promise I will.
You couldn't even make your sentencing on time today. Further,
I
last time you were
directed
building.
I've never been through
at the
before.
Judicial Center and you didn't. Look, we're not going to talk over each other. I've made my ruling. You're not going to cry your way out of it.
The craziest part about this case isn't that she scammed an innocent old lady. It's the fact that she's literally acting like a 5-year-old in court right now. And the scariest thing to me is honestly that she has kids outside, grandkids, and they're just sitting in the car right now waiting for her to be done, which is just scary and honestly should be a charge in itself in my opinion. But like I said in the beginning of this video, I didn't see the remorse, and obviously it's showing here now where she's crying because she can't take responsibility for what she did.
Please.
All right.
I got my grandkids outside.
All right. Are you done, Ms. Turpin, so that I can complete your sentencing? Again, the court has announced 2 days of jail time credit. At some point in the future, Ms. Turpin, you may have the right to seek expungement of this offense. Certain statutory limitations do apply. If you have any question about your right to someday seek expungement, you can address those questions to a lawyer and I'm sure get your questions answered. Under certain limited circumstances, defendants have a right to appeal their conviction to an appellate court having jurisdiction. And if defendants are unable to pay the cost of an appeal, they may ask the court to appoint a lawyer to represent them on appeal and that they be supplied with the transcript of trial court proceedings. Pursuant to KSA 22-3608C, you, the defendant, have 14 days after this judgment in court to file any notice of appeal with the clerk of the District Court of Butler County, Kansas. You do have the right to appeal this sentence if the court has ruled adversely to you, the defendant, at this hearing. I will remind you that there's prohibitions against a convicted felon possessing a firearm, and that there are losses of certain civil rights, such as the right to vote, until your sentence is fully discharged. Ms. Norris, I wanted to ask you, of all of the financial assessments you were asking the court to impose, has the court covered all of those?
Yes, Your Honor, I believe so.
All right. Mr. Watts, is there anything further from the defense side that the court still needs to address?
I don't believe so, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. The court is going to order Patricia Turpin into the immediate custody of the Butler County Sheriff's
Please,
Representative
Judge, please, my
until her
grand.
custody can be transferred to the Butler County Jail to serve out 58 more days.
Please don't do
And,
please.
and
I genuinely just can't get over how she's a grandmother right now acting like one of her grandkids. I feel like for her kind of case where you're scamming an innocent grandmother, 58 days in jail honestly doesn't even cover it. So, she should honestly be thankful. Let me know in the comments how many days you guys would give her if you were judge. Even though the days are 60 maximum is what the judge could have gave her. So, he did all he could, but honestly, I feel like 6 months would have been a little bit better. But yeah, let's watch her final reaction when she gets pulled away here.
Judge, what month did you want the payments to start?
Yes, we do need to come back to that. In light of the fact that she's going to be incarcerated essentially through September and October, of course, not realistically going to expect her to make payments during those months. So the court will start her payment obligation as earlier announced for the calendar month of November of 2024 and each subsequent month
Please don't.
until her obligations are paid in full. All right. I think the sentencing proceeding is concluded at this point. Mr. Smith, thank you for your work on the case and your appearance here today, Ms. Taronis. Ms. Taronis, she's a little bit emotional right now. Do you still want to have a session with her?
Yeah, I'd like to try if I could, please, Your Honor.
All right. So I'm going to go ahead and recess this proceeding. Ms. Turpin should stay. I'll just direct court security. She needs to make contact with her ISO so she knows what to do when she gets out of jail.
Please, Judge, please.
All right.
Let me schedule this jail time.
If there's
Please.
nothing further, the Turpin matter will be in recess at this time, and we can conclude the record and leave the Zoom meeting open for the ISO.
And just like that, this entitled Ken is going to be spending the next 58 days in jail. And honestly, I bet her grandkids are probably so pumped up right now. But on a serious note, I actually feel bad for them because I can only imagine what she does behind closed doors. The craziest part about this hearing I saw was when she tried to blame her lung cancer or her heart condition on the final sentence and try to get remorse. I just cannot believe some of these people are real. Like, it's honestly just disgusting. Serve your time for what you did and move on. Like, I just don't understand some people. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments what you guys thought about this one. I will see you guys in the next.